welcome to a very special episode of the VGBees podcast. This is a bonus. That's the bonus music you're hearing. That's right. Don't adjust your headsets. It's not the normal music, but it is.
Not the normal jazzy tune. No.
It's a jazzy tune. Welcome to a very special episode of the VGBees podcast. If you listened to this podcast this time last year, you would have heard the dulcet tones of one Danielle Riendeau here with me. And me, I'm your host, John Warren, talking about the Pitt. Of course, we're back, baby.
We're so back.
We're so back. That didn't feel like a year ago, Danielle, really?
Oh, man. No, that was in another plane of existence.
Yeah.
That was another time and space.
It was so. I should have looked this up before we started. When did we record that? Because I am now like, I can't remember how on the ball we were, but you've got now like 20 more jobs than you had.
It's true.
And let's see, when did we record this? I'm so curious.
Was it May last year or was it April?
We were, oh wow, we're close. It was May 10th of last year. Okay.
Oh, we're really close. Okay.
Yeah, we're really close. We're really close.
Yeah.
We're really close.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah.
We're only 10 days behind this time, and we did it.
So proud.
So proud. If you don't know Danielle, which would be fucking crazy, actually, if you're listening to this show and you don't know Danielle, actually, just as a rule, it would be kind of insane.
I'm sure that pertains to some people.
maybe. The contingent who thought you died after you left Waypoint.
Yep. They still think I'm dead. They still think R.I.P. Danielle 2019. Like, they still think I'm dead. It's pretty funny.
But you're not dead. You're here. No. You've been resurrected as one of the hive. She is the editor-in-chief over at GameDeveloper.com. And if you have ever clicked on the show notes of a VGBees podcast, boy, we got a lot of GameDeveloper.com all over those show notes.
Oh, yeah.
We do.
Excellent.
We pull from that source because they are not afraid to post the grim, stupid corporate bullshit that happens that I think other outlets are a little afraid of being too dry. But nothing's too dry for the VGBees podcast. Because we will look at any sort of corporate move and talk about it to death.
Oh yeah.
And boy, GameDeveloper.com, and this is a compliment, great at surfacing all of those stories.
Thank you. I wrote a story about some moves at Microsoft just today. Huge. I wrote about some new executives, the new CTO and chief strategy officer. In fact, myself, see, we're a very tiny team over there, so I actually write news a fair amount. I know. Wow. New skills for me.
we clicked on it like Lotus had put up a bunch of stories in our show notes before, and I was on the road driving from South Carolina back to here last weekend. Yeah. And I was like, okay, great. Double Fine is unionizing. That's neat. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I opened this thing on the show and I was like, someone named Danielle Riendeau. I was like, damn, crazy. Yeah. Same thing happened with the Diego story. So listen, it's all in the family.
It really is.
To be all in the family.
Fanbyte lives on. VGBees, the Beehive, the Hive, and also some game developer stuff happening. Yeah, Diego's writing news for us almost every day now, which is awesome. Diego, shout out to Diego. Absolutely amazing person.
Diego wrote a review for Zero Parades. That's the kind of the Disco Elysium. He wrote that, I think, over on The Verge. And I was just saying this is like, he's such a good writer, and English is his second language.
Yeah, it's bananas.
Fucking infuriating. Yeah. Like I'm just like that's stupid. Like I always am like, oh no, I'm doing okay, and then I'm like, no, I couldn't write anything remotely that good in a second language. So
I can barely ask where the bathroom is in any other language. It's really it's a little sad actually. I might end up in the kitchen. It would be bad for everyone involved.
It'd be terrible.
So
it'd be really, really bad. But listen, we're not here to talk about games, at least not not for the full hour or however long we've been chatting. Danielle and I love the show The Pitt. Yes. We talked about it last year. It was I think one of our favorite shows of last year.
Definitely.
I would say still one of my favorite shows of this year. But season 2 it was a little different.
It's a different beast.
A little different beast.
Yeah.
We fast forward not too terribly long. It's 4th of July weekend. Another 15-hour shift.
Yep.
For Dr. Robbie,
which should be 12, but ends up being 15. As is usual in medicine. Yeah.
We're back in Pittsburgh trauma, but it's summertime. We're definitely getting a Christmas episode next year.
There's got to be maybe Halloween.
Maybe Halloween.
Because a lot happens on Halloween. A lot of
weird stuff happens on Halloween.
A lot happens on Halloween, especially, and also, I mean, honestly, because I've actually done a lot of July 4th shifts, but I've done a lot of New Year's shifts as well. Like a lot of New Year's shifts on my ambulance. So it's you do get some holiday stuff.
You do get some holiday stuff. And of course, that's a really good point to make, is that if you're listening to this and you didn't listen to last year, and again, don't know who Danielle is.
Yeah.
Again, crazy. Volunteer EMT. A very harrowing job that you have been doing for a long time.
Thank you. 10 years as of this month. This is actually my 10-year anniversary here in May 2026 of being an EMT in New York City. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, you're an EMT in probably the most harrowing city to be an EMT, I would imagine.
I think in some ways, yes. Yeah. No competition.
Right, but I'm sure I'm sure it's very difficult. So if you're like, wow, okay, so one of us is a fucking subject matter adjacent expert, right?
Definitely.
So yeah. So
I work in the ER, but only in a somewhat limited capacity of bringing people in to the ER and giving my report. And then, I certainly do a little bit of this and that in the ER. My patient is my patient until they are fully in. Like, I have to give a full report, and often I even have to stay a little bit longer because if there are complications or they need help moving the patient. So I spend a lot of time in the ER around here. I say the ER. There's like many different ERs that I go to, but yeah.
How many do you actually serve, quote unquote?
Absolutely any single one in the New York City system. Wow. Because we're, in my volunteer organization, we used to do what was called buffing calls, which is we were in the system, we were in 911, but we weren't specifically dispatched necessarily to every call. Yeah. Now we are. We are just functionally FDNY EMTs whenever we sign into a shift. So wherever the calls are, primarily Queens and Brooklyn, but now they send us absolutely anywhere. So yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Well,
it's pretty fun. Sometimes.
It's so cool. It's so cool that you do that. It is so cool that you are out there in the community. I have to imagine that even though that's like a scary, sometimes harrowing thing, I'm sure it's really rewarding to serve your community like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm a cornball person. It's also, we'll talk about this because I think this show is a cornball show, but I mean that in a complimentary sense. Like, this show wears its heart on its sleeve, like all day, every day. So it is a show for cornballs. And I also think that's a huge part of why it's popular, to be honest with you. I think it's like it feels good to have, a like very corny, people, but very,
it's a show about competent. It's a show about competent people who actually give a shit,
who are really trying. Yes, and exactly. Who are really trying. Yeah.
And we don't necessarily see a lot of that maybe reflected in the world around us at the moment.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think that's a good part of why it's popular. But it is again, we in the first season we saw the one of the first shots was Dr. Robbie, played by Noah Wyle, visiting Dr. Abbott on the roof. It is a suggestive, scary, trauma-laden kind of environment. It's a little bit quiet, uneasy, but it does kind of ease up, and it's like, okay. Season 2 starts with Dr. Robbie driving a motorcycle into work without a helmet on. And
waving at the ambulance. I will never forget this shot where he's like, there's an ambulance coming, and he's just like, hey!
As he passes around it.
It's really...
In the other lane,
It's not subtle. It's not subtle.
And that's the thing is like immediately I was like, wow, it's kind of fucked up that he wouldn't wear a helmet. And then of course, like 5 minutes later, I was like, no, John, that's not subtle. They're wanting you to notice that he's not wearing a helmet riding a motorcycle. And it's like, okay. So this season is mostly about this weird slow burn of
burn
Dr.
is a correct
Robbie
term.
kind of, burning out and having this kind of, he wants to go on a 3-month motorcycle sabbatical and he's leaving everything behind and it feels kind of big. And this is kind of maybe the through line of the entire series of, or season at least, of seeing it's not the ultimate end game of what that could be, but what it looks like the beginnings of the end game, and then also littered with moments that could contribute to other people burning out throughout the season. And this is just a big show about like how medical professionals are often completely at the mercy of some of the most traumatic things you could ever witness. Which is tough.
Constantly. Very, very constantly. I would say that the first season is very much a meditation on trauma, inflicted upon folks who work in this field with two like huge triggers, right? There was a massive part of the first season that had to do with COVID and having extreme burnout after COVID. Dr. Robbie has these really intense PTSD sort of flashbacks to his mentor and a doctor he worked with for years lying there dying in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of like the worst of the pandemic where people are just dying all over the place. And that kind of keeps haunting him throughout that first season. And then of course, kind of the second, I forget if it's been a little while since I saw the first season, but kind of the last third of the first season really has to do with a massive, horrific gun, it has to do with sort of shooting deaths and a mass casualty incident. So it's kind of like these two kind of focal points of trauma very much towards medical professionals. And this season seems a little bit more diffuse, like this horrific burnout that is very, very, very much a part of the profession. And it's honestly disgusting and very upsetting. And that, people are not better supported, which the show definitely wants. It's also part of why the show is so likable, because it's like, it takes a real point of view about who screwed up here, and it's hospital administration and the larger healthcare system. Not subtle.
Not a subtle
not even
show.
A little.
No.
Never once. It's about as subtle as a gunshot wound, to be honest. Like that's pretty much what I'd call it. But this has many, many more, I think, sort of diffuse elements of burnout. And Robbie isn't necessarily responding to any one given trauma more than another one, versus in the first season where it's really COVID, it's really gunshot wound deaths and associated deaths. There's obviously a million other things happening in the show, but I'm just saying this is just kind of like his entire life has boiled down to, having clearly like an extreme savior complex and not having any real way of dealing with his trauma and just not dealing with it. And it's coming to a head. He's probably in his early 50s, whatever they're kind of going for in the show. And, he's been attending for God knows how long at this point. He probably went to med school right when he was 22. He probably went all the way through, and he's not doing okay. It's really, really, really the through line here. I don't know that anyone is in this show. I mean, some people deal better than others, but I don't know if anyone's actually okay. Maybe Whitaker's okay, but other than
maybe Whitaker seems just like, whatever, guys. I'm just
as long as he has his funk, he's gonna be fine.
Yeah, exactly. But Robbie, like what I appreciate about this show, and again, it's not subtle, but like they make sure you realize that Robbie he's respected. He has friends. Yes. He has a girlfriend that is hot and really likes him.
Yep.
And like all of those things are kind of thrown at you as a way, I think, to go, it actually really doesn't matter that he has these things.
Yep, completely.
This trauma still sneaks up on you, catches up to you, wrecks with you in ways that like you can't really necessarily like identify that quickly. Of course, we the viewer identify those things because the show is zooming the fuck in on all of them.
Yes.
But this season is really a lot about everyone kind of realizing like, hey, by the way, this 3-month sabbatical that he's going on, this seems like a bad fucking idea, huh?
Right.
Because what's he doing? We know he drives around without a helmet on his fucking head.
After treating God knows how many accidents that came from that situation. It's like a very direct, very clear, especially when he's, waving at the EMTs in the ambulance.
Totally.
Like, he knows 100%. He knows, 100%. We all know. He knows like it's a real,
Yeah. And so, obviously there are a lot of things that happened in the first season, things with Dr. Langdon, which I'm sure we'll get into, that are still kind of coming back and very upfront. But really this is, the main A plot of the show kind of happening weirdly in the background, but also kind of touched on in every episode is Dr. Robbie's almost kind of will he, won't he, kind of like, what is really good? Is he really going to go on this sabbatical? Because the sabbatical, content warning, feels like a euphemism for this guy is ready to check out. He's ready to leave this plane of existence and whatever. And that becomes very much the kind of explicit worry from people toward the end of the season. So
increasingly explicit as well.
Yes,
like there's again, not so subtle hints, and there's more subtle hints than they just say it by the last couple episodes. It's
tough and it's hard. And I think people who have dealt with suicide and self-harm, it's like I imagine, and like, I've dealt with a bit of that myself in my life. And it's like, it's one of those things where it is kind of this like boil, it does, as I'm watching the show, it does kind of boil up in me too of like, these are subtle signs and behaviors that are recognizable. And I think they do a good job of writing characters with those kind of believable traits and hard to watch, but important at the same time. So
very, very much so. Yeah. I might get a little real on this podcast. Is that all right? I get a little real. Content warning all over the place.
Yeah, please.
So when I was watching the first season of this show, I had just dealt with a family member who had a really, really terrifying attempt. And like the next month, my mom was in for like pretty serious surgery for something. I was sort of in and out of the hospital most of the winter of last year.
Right.
And some of this had partially happened after I had decided to go back to school to learn more about medicine myself.
Yeah.
And some of it was happening during the same time as I was kind of deciding to go back to school to learn a lot more science and maybe some future training for medicine. Let's see.
Yeah.
So there were elements of this season that hit me like a truck. Like it was really like, oh, did I stop breathing again for 30 seconds? Like I fully had those moments.
Right.
It was intense and it was tough. And it was also very, 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 you see a lot of this as well when, you do EMS, when you attend to someone on that kind of call, when you see someone either during an attempt or right before an attempt, potentially, and you have to kind of bear witness to someone in this state, and there's nothing any human being can say necessarily to bring somebody back from the brink. There's nothing other. It takes months and months and months and months to even get someone back 10% from that ledge sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, man, just the sheer force of like his pain and it's certainly how he's acting out against it, even when he's, I think Noah Wyle does a great job in this role.
I do too.
But there are times where like the sheer force of like the pain seeping out and affecting other people. I mean, more than anyone, it affects Dr. Mohan maybe in this way. I definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah.
It was like hard to watch at times.
Yeah,
certainly.
For sure. Yeah.
And gut punching, certainly. And there is still this sense of this character where, there were times I was getting angry at him. I know he's not a real person, but this is how we relate, storytelling.
he's kind of an asshole. He's acting out. He's being remarkably insensitive in moments where I don't necessarily think like he wants to be or whatever. But these are things that I'm like, okay, like I'm recognizing some stuff here. And that's all on purpose. And that show is like, again, not subtle. It is not like the most kind of like densely written Shakespearean drama. Plots don't matter as much as kind of characters do.
Yeah, definitely.
But that part of it is like, okay, this is a lived experience. Like these writers understand this.
Yeah, there's definitely the sense of you want to slap him and give him the biggest hug, and also like, maybe involuntarily commit him, all the above at once. So not to joke about that. I'm just laughing because this is such a kind of subject. It brings a lot to the forefront. But to that point, like we've seen psych holds as part of this show in both seasons. And it's, you look at kind of what those psych holds were for, and you go, well, I've seen people committed in this show for less than what Robbie is exhibiting, right? So it's like it's an interesting, it's an interesting thing to just keep bringing that up, but it's like it's a part of trauma medicine. I imagine. So it's hard. So this it goes very hard into the first season he was dealing with this trauma. You have this big cathartic cry moment that I think a lot of shows might have said, well, that was his moment, his breakthrough, and now he's done. And not that I'm wishing ill on the character of Dr. Robbie, but I was almost like, well, thank God, because it's not over. Like, of course it's not. Yeah. He's still carrying all of this, know? And has no actual real help. Even if he has a little breakthrough, that's nice.
But it's not
if it
what
took
he needs.
40 years, 30 years-ish, maybe not quite, of this trauma to build up, it would take that long to break it back down. In any kind of full capacity. These things don't work in ways that we want them to. So,
Well, and one of the things that I appreciated about this season of The Pitt is that we get to meet Caleb Jefferson, the psychiatrist on call there, who is in a wheelchair.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's rep. This show's got rep. It's all over the place.
It's got rep. It sure does.
They do. And you know what? It's legit too, because this is just, it's great. So this dude obviously knows what the fuck is going on with Dr. Robbie, but feels like he can't really get through to him in any sort of meaningful way or professional way. And so his frustration at Dr. Robbie is one of those mounting things in the background that happens every episode and a half, it feels like, of
like there's like a little check-in almost.
This kind of roll by of him like watching an interaction and being like, I'm gonna remember that. I need to remember that, and just kind of corner him later. And
interesting medical advice. Didn't pick a high enough place to jump from. Okay, it was kind of one of the lines of like, oh my God, dude. You know?
You're bringing your shit to work in a way that is not good. Yeah. But also, I'm worried about you at the same time. So it's an interesting thing. We will get back to kind of how this wraps up, I think, later in the show.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But we are reintroduced to, of course, the a lot of the same doctors: Dr. King, Whitaker, Mohan, Santos. Langdon does come back. We'll get to Langdon in a bit, but McKay also back. I want to start, I think, with maybe the new medical students. We're joined by James Ogilvy and Joy Kwan, who, bold move to kind of make them both fairly unlikable right away, which I think was great. I warmed to both of them in different ways by the end.
Yeah, definitely.
But what did you think of Ogilvy and Kwan?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, as you're supposed to, hated Ogilvy with every fiber of my being immediately.
Man.
He's just so callous. And he's like the classic gunner type of like, yeah, I'm so smart. I'm smarter than all of you. I'm better than all of you. And then gets taken down, not one peg,
humbled.
But 12.
Yeah. Deeply
in the course
humbled.
of not even the entire day. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
And there is also one of the greatest shots in cinematic history of the poop cannon that we all enjoy. I think we're all meant to enjoy that. There's a fecal disimpaction moment that it hit. You know what? It hits different. Let's just say it. It hits different because you hate this character, and you're meant to hate this character, right? And Joy Kwan, who is Secret Queen, but at first she seems pretty like, what the fuck? And I actually love how they kind of approach that with her, especially because this is a medical student who absolutely, as far as we can tell, really smart, on top of her game, wants nothing to do with the ER, wants nothing, could not want less to do with the ER, which is a very realistic thing. There are any rotation you do in medical school or PA school or most of any of the schools where you go through rotations, basically, in medicine, you're going to have ones that you hate and want nothing to do with, and you still have to be there for that month or 2 months, whatever, depending on the school. I once dated a pediatrician throughout her entire residency, actually, and remember her even talking about going to the, like, adult ER and just being like, oh, my God.
No, forget it.
These grown people, what is this? It's just it's very funny. And it is pretty realistic. It's like, well, you need to go through all these rotations to have an understanding of medicine and how everything kind of works together. But some of them will not be for you, my friend. And she's pretty honest about that right away, which I did like. Well, not right away, but, relatively early on in her arc.
Pretty up front. Yeah.
Pathology. I think pathology, something to do with that. She wants medical mystery. She's interested in, like, the real sciencey, dorky stuff, and less the cowboy throwing various tubes together that is the ER. So yeah, it's weird. She doesn't seem. I like Kwan's character in the sense that she doesn't seem overwhelmed or unequipped to deal with it, but she's just like, this isn't what I want to do. At the end of the shift, they're like, well, aren't you going to stick around? She's like, no, I'm not going to fucking stick around. What do you 6:59, baby. Yeah.
Like, I'm out. Like, I've seen the way everyone else here is, and I don't want that life.
Yep.
And I appreciated that we had a character. I was like, good for you, Kwan. Go home. Good for you. Like, I was like, that's great. And speaking of the poop cannon and getting real, okay?
Yes, please.
1 year, almost exactly a year ago.
Yes.
Car accident. I broke my tibia.
Yes.
Fibula. No, my God.
Fibula
tibia combo.
Fibs.
Tib fibs. Surgery to correct it. They give me Norco, 40 of them. Boy, if you don't think I took all those Norco, I sure did. And when you're recovering from a broken leg and you're not supposed to be up on it, you're going to be stationary for a lot of the time on 40 Norco over a few week period.
Oh, that is, folks. That's a recipe for disaster.
Big time impaction.
Yeah.
Big time. And the impaction, folks, was, and I'm not kidding, infinitely worse than the broken leg. I would have done 3 of the surgeries and recoveries from the broken leg to avoid doing the impaction. It was 2 weeks of not being able to poop.
Oh, God.
It was eventually it being so backed up that nothing felt good going in.
Right.
So you're like, what is happening? I was in and out of the ER a couple of times, and they did the procedure that caused the poop cannon to happen to me, which is essentially just we're going up with a finger or 2, and when you're trying to actually just scoop it out. I have never, Danielle, in my life made the sound I made when the doctor went all the way up in there.
Oh, God.
I was like, yeah, sure, I'm ready.
Nothing can prepare you.
I've never bottomed before. So I don't know.
Sure.
But
yeah,
I was kind of like, well, going in's probably fine.
Oh no. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Horrible.
Did they not even like, I mean, listen, I don't do this procedure as an EMT.
Yeah.
I do not. I have been.
Well, it didn't fucking
sorry
work.
to be gross. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how successful. If something wasn't like really ready, I don't know.
I know.
Like a hand doesn't go very far. Sorry.
No, it doesn't go very far. It doesn't.
It doesn't. And also, like I have been covered with another with a patient's poop before.
Yeah.
Like it's happened.
Yeah.
I have been there when somebody had probably a couple of weeks back up.
Yeah.
It all came out. It was actually the day. This is a fun story I like to tell my sister. It was the day I learned my sister had a multiple sclerosis diagnosis. And then I went out that night on my ambulance and got covered in shit. And I'm just like, it was a shitty day.
That's a really bad day.
She's doing great. It's just that day.
that's a bad day.
That fucking day, dude.
That's a bad day. That's a 1-2 punch.
I came home that night and I just like texted my partner. I was just like, can you please put a trash bag by the door? I'm not going to come in like this.
Okay, well, no. So I have questions. I'm going to ask.
Please do.
So you get covered in shit at your job. What happens? Because we see in the pit in the ER, you got fucking scrubs that you've got a gown. You've got a gown.
Yep.
You also have a scrubs dispensary. All that stuff.
Oh yeah.
What did you? There was just like go home. You're covered in shit.
They sent us home. That's how much poop there was. They sent us home. I'm not even joking. There was a conditions boss who like wrote down. This is a complicated patient. Obviously there's no shade whatsoever towards any patient ever, and no information.
Oh my God.
It's just I just feel like I have to say that. You weren't implying that at all. I just feel like I have to say it. But I was riding down to get another bottle of oxygen from the ambulance, and we're riding down in the elevator together. And I swear to God, this is just like, he just turns to me. He's like, you're covered in shit. And I'm just standing there and I'm like, I know. And he just sent us home after this call. It really was amazing. Anyway, that did happen. We do carry gowns on the ambulance. Right. We do.
Sure.
This did not come over as that type of call. This came over as a lift assist, that this person just needed help getting out. She had fallen, getting out of bed. She just needed help getting up. So we didn't come in with the gowns. Now, of course, always, what type of PPE you're wearing and what you're doing at any given time is somewhat informed by the call, but you can never count on it. These things do happen. This was not something we even expected on this call. And it was also, let's just put it this way, it was emergent. She was not covered or covering anyone at first. It happened while I was like trying to take her vital signs. So this is just what happened.
Wow.
Anyway, the poop cannon in the show.
It really, in the show.
It felt quite realistic. Although there was not, to be clear, I didn't have a cannon moment. There was just a lot of the substance, and it happened kind of everywhere, not just on me. So
yeah. But Ogilvy does get hit with the cannon. He gets hit with later in the show making a vital mistake during a trauma, which he is deeply, 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 deeply upset by.
Yes.
It's a moment that I don't want to say I'm glad happened, but it feels more like the inevitability of if you're certain about your abilities and you're certain about that profession will absolutely kick the living shit out of you one day.
It will destroy that.
It will do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it seems like an important lesson to learn as a medical professional, although it's not fun and it feels maybe cruel and unnecessary, and maybe it is in some ways, but it's like it did feel like the reality of okay, you feel like you know what you're doing, great. Well, you're gonna get over by hour 8 or whatever of doing this shit. You're gonna get overwhelmed by it, and you're gonna make a mistake, and everyone's gonna make a mistake, and not all of them are fatal, but some of them are.
Some of them super are. Yeah.
So
his conversation. Sorry, go for it.
No, please. I was
gonna say his conversation with Whitaker in that moment. So this is after this happens to him. He's hiding in the ambulance bay, basically in some bushes, like literally hiding in the bushes. I understand. I've had some bad days doing
100%.
Not this exactly, but doing something close to this.
Yeah.
And Whitaker, who shows who he's such a good boy. Like Whitaker Whitaker, who by the way always looks wet. I don't know if anybody's ever talked about this, but he always looks wet. It's not even just sweat; he just looks kind of wet. I don't know what that's about.
I know no shade to I can't remember the name of I can't remember his actor's name. Let me look at it real quick.
Yeah, I'm like, let me get this up here somewhere.
Garen Howell.
Yes.
No shade to Garen Howell. I think it, by the way, is I think a lovely actor and very, very
does
good
a great
in this
job.
role.
Yeah.
Just kind of looks like a drowned rat 24 hours a day, which is very like it's like because I see him on like the interview circuit and stuff, and I was like, wow, he either I don't know what he does,
right? But
he gets into a mode where he's like, yeah, and on this show in the pit, I'm a drowned rat, and really and here I am. Because you're right. He always looks kind of wet and tired.
Yes.
And which is a great characterization for him. But anyway, yes. Yeah. He's talking to Ogilvy in the back of this ambulance, which is a great moment.
And he's really trying. And again, in the first season, this was kind of him because he got every bodily fluid on him, but he was never cruel. Never, ever cruel. He always had... he was always like a sweetheart. He always tried. He did some kind of stupid things, but genuinely out of like when he did an IO on a conscious person in their arm. That was
nuts.
Pretty stupid.
Yes.
But it's not like it came out of some kind of cruelty, the way Ogilvy makes jokes about people's weights, the way he makes light of addiction, the way he like clearly has no business being around in any kind of patient population. Whitaker is never cruel. He's just a little stupid at first, which you know, we've all made a mistake or two. 100%. And you know, of all things in the world, an IO in an arm is incredibly stupid, but it's not in any way fatal or you know, it's going to hurt a lot, but it's not going to cause damage to the patient.
It's not going to ruin their life.
Yes.
Right.
It's not. That poor clown, he's going to be upset, but he'll be okay.
He'll be okay. So,
you know. But Whitaker's there, and he's really kind of showing why ER. You know, it's kind of like, we could go to family medicine, we could go to something else, but I love how fast-paced it is. I love how hands-on it is. I love how it's different every day. You know, I'd be bored in another specialty. And honestly, like something like that speech speaks to me as someone who's like potentially interested maybe one day, you know, if the stars align correctly and, you know, I brush my teeth and I clean the toilet well enough and all of these things that maybe who could say maybe I could work in an ER one day. Like I really get everything he's saying. Yeah. And also am terrified to my core of the burnout, especially as presented in this show. And also the assault. I mean, that's another thing we can talk about, you know, multiple times in the show. They show patients assaulting healthcare workers, and especially small women, especially, you know, we see a lot of that. And it is especially directed towards the nurses. In a very specific instance, a piece of shit tech bro, finance bro who, you know,
who got way too fucked up during a golf game. Yeah. Like
fully puts poor, sweet baby Emma, who I love. She's going to be a great nurse. She has the instincts. She has every instinct, and also didn't immediately die with the maggots or with the death or with she got put through the ringer on her first day, and the fact she's still like alive and walking and wants to come back the next day, she's going to be phenomenal. But assaults her pretty badly. And of course, Dana, who I know we've been talking about the show for a while, but Dana, who is the lifeblood of this ER, who is the one who keeps it going, as Dr. Abbott says, the mama bear glue, I think is the way he puts it, that like keeps the place, you know, together. Who has some pretty bad trauma herself from being assaulted badly, very badly. And not to put. No. I've been assaulted by a patient, but it was nowhere near that level kind of thing, right? Like it's, you know, she was punched in the face and I think maybe knocked out for a few minutes kind of thing in the previous season. Yeah. She might be doing something that's not the best thing by carrying around a drug that can knock out your patient. And who could say she may have hit him with it immediately when she saw Emma go down.
Which I liked.
Kind of illegal, but
I did really appreciate the kind of, especially in this season, the surfacing of like, you know, okay, like Dr. King is doing a deposition for a possible malpractice, and we're doing poor XYZ and Dr. King. Poor Mel. We'll get to Mel. but like, you know, the show is kind of flirting with this, like, what's the line between good medicine, bad medicine, good intentions, bad intentions.
Yeah.
You know, Dana's carrying around a really dangerous drug so she can mitigate the risk of in-trauma assaults. And Robbie, of course, picks up on, you know, immediately knows what happened, really.
Yeah.
Just intuits it and goes, yeah, you had that shit on you.
Yeah.
That's not good. But, you know, he also realizes, and I think recognizes, that maybe this is not the fight that he needs to be having.
Yeah.
But also surfacing the idea that, like, Dana could get into real trouble if she continues to do shit like that. Yeah. And I think, like, you brought up Emma and Dana, and I think, like, the assault is one thing, and then there are two other moments in the show this season that I think are incredibly important, and they both involve Emma and Dana. And Emma kind of oversees the death of a beloved frequent patient of the ER, Louis, who we're introduced to in season 1 as a guy who just shows up every few hours, it seems like. And it's just like, hey, I drank too much. And I don't feel great, and I need to kind of hang out for a little while. And of course, this season starts as that. But Danielle,
oh my God,
I kind of knew in my gut that when he showed up this time, I was like, oh boy, I don't think Louis is making it out of this.
Yeah, Louis is not long. Unfortunately, Louis is not long for this world. Yeah.
And, you know, it again highlights this idea of we can't judge the people who darken the doors of a trauma center almost at all. I mean, like, I think there are moments where they assault you, or you catch wind of some sort of abuse or whatever, which does come up in this season of the show, that, you know, it changes the calculus on those things a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily change the moment of do no harm.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like, that's, you know, like, that is ultimately what happens. And to me, like, the genuine, I think, affection and love that these people show for Louis, who by our view as the viewer, is someone who is so hopelessly addicted that they are just going to drink themselves to death. And that is what happens.
It is what happens. Yeah.
And that moment of him passing, where it is deeply traumatic and everyone is trying to make it not happen.
Yeah. And
then the moment where we see what happens in the moments after a patient dies in the hospital, and demystifying, which will also come up again, this process of what happens. We clean them, we move them, we have, if there's no family extant to really come and take care of them, what happens? Yeah. And there is a really beautiful but deeply sad kind of group viewing for Louis after he passes, where they memorialize him in a way, and I thought that was really sad. I cried a little.
Yeah.
And it was just deeply sad to think about, you know, people who pass and don't really have anyone in their lives to, I don't know.
It's incredibly touching. And Emma actually holds his hand. I don't know if it's like I know it's corny. Again, the show is fucking corny, but it's fine.
But it's like,
it's fine.
You know, she's kind of deer in the headlights about a lot of trauma she sees in those first few hours.
Right.
And then it sinks in kind of, I think, the human element of what she does, and she rises to the occasion.
Yeah.
And it's really sweet.
It's honestly one of the sweetest little just gestures on the entire show. And again, it shows that she's going to be great at this. If she can avoid burnout, she will be. Even maybe if she doesn't avoid burnout, she might still be great at this. She has that instinct of, like, just be a human being in those moments. Like, be technical, be proficient, be everything you can, but also above all, be human. And I really do think that's part of the thesis of the show, right? And Robbie maybe losing some of his humanity on some level, but never shaking it in other ways, you know, is maybe like a much deeper read, perhaps, of the show. It also, at least to me, speaks to something that I watched the first season mostly with my sister because I was in Rhode Island for my mom's surgery for a few weeks, and my sister was there, and we watched most of the first season. And she kept remarking, like, "That's not his job. That's not their job. That's not their job." And my sister works in the aid sector. It was actually a big, I think you know this, but she was in Ukraine for years, actually working in the aid sector. Right. But like just looking at, how just what is happening, here in the very, very modern era of like, okay, the doctors, nurses, PAs, NPs, janitors, everyone who works in the ER is the only point of contact for a lot of people for any help in any area.
Right.
They might need psych help. They might need monetary help that they'll never get. They might need a lot of different kinds of help. They might need a ride. Oh my God, that comes up too. That comes up. Yep. They might need a ride home. And this happens all the time. I have patients who are really, really afraid of what happens. If you take me to the hospital, how do I get back? If they're having serious mobility issues and they do not like have anybody to kind of rely on. This is something people will not want to go to the hospital often. Very, very understandably, because they don't know how they'll get home. And it's so like you just want to cry a lot of times, on a lot of calls. You just want to cry for what a person's circumstances are. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And yet every problem comes to the ER, right? That's kind of the idea. Every problem comes to the ER, whether it should be in the ER, not in terms of the person's fault, but like whether there's any apparatus in our society of dealing with literally anything, or it all just goes to the ER and you have to be 28 different jobs to be a doctor, right? It's very much, kind of what's happening here.
Yeah.
And it very much is in this moment of Emma, like stepping up in this moment, in this like really kind of beautiful and sad story about Louis and just being there for another human and there even after they've passed and there to bear witness and to kind of be around others going through it.
And, the big reveal, which is not really a surprise, but kind of like, of course, Robbie knows the most about Louis and can just off the dome talk about a lot of his life, which makes me, and this is where I got emotional about it. I'm getting emotional about it now. This kind of surfacing of, no, I did bear witness and I did pay attention and I did absorb the essence of this person's life and I understand them in a way fundamental to the human existence, and we can all have these connections, and it's like, and it was a very powerful scene, which I really appreciated. They took the time to do that, and that was one of those moments where I was like, okay, well, Dr. Robbie, he's still got this in him.
He's still capable.
He's still capable, and so that was kind of an anchoring moment of like, not that like. This kind of like, will he or won't he, like, wager I'm making with myself. But that was a moment where I was kind of like, I think he's going to be okay, but I don't know how he's going to get there.
Right.
But I do see it, and I was kind of like, okay, so that was a good moment. And then Dr. Emma was also involved in very, very much with Dana in another scene that was hugely demystifying for me, which was in the content warning. Content warnings are all over this fucking
everywhere.
We'll do that. But a woman comes in who is sexually assaulted and they perform a rape kit essentially in real time.
Yes.
Which was really astonishing. I have been tremendously, unbelievably lucky to not be someone who has experienced that close to me. I've never had a partner or friend who have had to go and I've never had that. I'm very lucky. But because of that, you watch episodes of Law and Order or whatever, and someone's like, hey, did you do a rape kit or whatever?
Right.
And you're kind of like, I don't know, what is that?
Right. And you think it's like a 10-second thing.
Maybe, it's a swab in the mouth and you're done,
right.
or whatever, like whatever is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, this scene of completely demystifying that and showing not only the cold medical part of it, not only the institutionally frustrating, bureaucratic part of it, but the incredibly human, psychological component of Nurse Dana having endless compassion, but also the professional decorum to perform this incredibly vital procedure that I think a lot of people avoid because they're afraid to have it done.
Yeah. And it's so during the time where, this patient and almost certainly almost every single patient who has gone through that, it's maybe the most traumatized, if even hours after sexual assault. God, this scene, it absolutely floored me in every way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over, because of course, when I watch anything, I put myself in the shoes of everyone in every part of the scene, because why not, right? I don't know if it's OCD, I don't know what it is, but I'm always picturing myself in various parts of a scene.
Scenarios.
Yeah, and just like, is there anybody on earth you'd rather have with you in that moment than Dana? And it's like, she's so kind.
Yeah.
And remains so, she does everything perfectly, of course.
Yeah.
But it's so kind and so patient and so fucking traumatized herself doing it. Like, she's obviously in some kind of pain doing this. She feels for this person. She feels everything for this person. Right. And she's explaining it. She's explaining it in the softest possible voice and just the clearest, softest possible way of doing this. And she's also like shepherding Emma through this moment too, is the other thing. Like, the kind of like composure as well as empathy for another human being that you need to do to be in this moment, this not even moment, but like this long and arduous, for a person who's gone through trauma like this process, while also bringing this, very young and very new and inexperienced nurse in.
And vulnerable and, is absorbing a lot on her first day here.
Oh my God, yeah. Yes. Yep. It's unbelievable. It's honestly like, I don't know. It's almost like I don't even know what to say about it. It's so, it's well treated,
It's like it felt like we kind of talked about it last year, and there's still a component of the show that feels a little goofy in the sense of like, okay, this is a PSA now, or like, okay, we could definitely cut this in a way that makes it look like just kind of a tutorial for some sort of medical procedure. There's still stuff like that like when it's very obvious, it's kind of funny in a way.
Yeah.
And this one was not funny. No. This was just like, hey, do you want to watch someone do this really terrible thing as well as anyone could possibly do it? Kind of the gold standard of you're teaching someone, you're locked into a compassionate, like, emotional embrace with another person, and you are getting the actual medical science part of it done in an efficient way. That it's like, okay, like show that to people. Like that's how you do that. And it's like, it's a little corny. Again, we're like cornball of like, hey, we're gonna break just basically a tutorial on how to do this. But it's like, like it's nice to show the proper bedside manner of someone, to your point, is absolutely going through an empathetic kind of transfer of trauma. While also being like, I gotta do my fucking job. I know how to do this. Yeah.
And teaching the new kid. So I almost wonder if that part made it easier for her to do that. I almost wonder. Almost wonder. Because I've experienced things like that where it's like sometimes easier to deal with an insane situation when you're teaching a new person, where it's like, all right, don't panic. You just got to do this and this. And then, all right, don't worry. We're going to do that and that. And that being the teacher voice almost gives you a little bit of space to like put your head towards that instead of just being overwhelmed with emotion. Maybe
it's demystifying it for the audience, and it was demystifying it for the patient.
Definitely.
And at the same time, right?
Definitely.
And so it was really special. And like, I don't know, like maybe folks will listen to this who've gone through this and are like, actually, that's like not how it goes or not how it should go or whatever.
Entirely
and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. I really don't know, but I did look at that and felt like, well, that demystified a lot of things for me, and also just the righteous anger with which Dana handles the fact that she discovers that there were old rape kits in the deposit box that the cops are supposed to pick up. The show does not like cops very much.
Nope.
And it really doesn't like ICE officers, which rears
except for that one lady.
Except that one lady rears its very ugly head in this season, where ICE brings a detainee in to have
like her shoulder
looked at, and basically they bring her in. It's almost like they're treating her like a prize cow that are taken to the fair. Go into the thing, make sure she's good, and then we're going to get her back on the road to the detention center. The show hates their guts. Everybody in the show, Dr. Robbie hates their guts. And I frankly appreciated how matter of fact everyone was about how much they fucking hated ICE officers. So that was great.
There's in that sequence, there is like a semi-subtle shot of the part of the plot, but who cares? The computer system goes down and they bring in like an old clerk, basically, who's like great at the paperwork. She's totally MAGA, and you don't necessarily know that until later, but like it kind of show. There's a little foreshadowing shot where she's sort of like chatting up the ICE agent, but it's not really. So much is happening in the background. It's actually something I wanted to bring up from my awesome notes is just how good the choreography of this show is. The craft of it. I'm sitting there thinking about it like an EMT the whole time, but then there are also flashes where I'm like, this is filmmaking, where I'm sitting there like, oh my God, everything is steady cam and beautifully choreographed. And they always have people doing things that actually do make sense for them to be doing in the background. And this is kind of one of those things. I think it was in frame. Certainly it wasn't just like a blur in the background. It was in frame, but it was certainly not the, what they were focused on in that show. They were looking at somebody else doing something else, but they kind of show her gabbing it up with one of the ICE agents. And it's like, yeah, she sucks. Obviously, it's just kind of like this little foreshadowing. But just a way for me to bring up the craft of this show. The actual filmmaking is the most chef's kiss, Salt Bay. I know my metaphors are old. I study all the time now instead of being on the internet. But like, oh my God,
our combined age is quite well over 80 at this point. So
old.
We're no, but you're right. Like, and we talk a lot and joke a lot about how the show is not subtle, and I think we really mean that with the writing and how the episodes are often plotted
and the PSA-ish quality sometimes.
Right, but I think you're right. Like from a shot composition perspective of the things that are happening in the background of these scenes, there's a lot you can miss, and there's a lot of like characterization that does happen kind of in the periphery that is really rewarding if you're paying attention to these kind of things. And that's one of those instances. Of course, they patch this woman up, but in the process, everyone is really pissed about it. And of course, everyone's hero, Nurse Jessie. Boy,
who's a real nurse in real life.
Former drummer for the band Rooney.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I have learned something today. Rooney, that one album in 2004, I loved it. I was in college.
Yes.
Good for you, Nurse Jessie.
And again, listen, corny, whatever.
Yep.
You're probably tired of us talking about it. The casting of this show is just like, let's just find the most excruciatingly hot people you can fucking imagine. In every instance.
In every way, too. So many flavors of hot people.
Right. So many flavors of hot people.
Do you want a daddy? Do you want a twink? Do you want the hot, hyper-competent lesbian? Do you want like a cool
bear in a wheelchair?
Do you want a bear in a wheelchair? Like just every flavor.
It's every fucking flavor. Oh. It's great. And of course, Nurse Jessie, he gets arrested, taken away. And we actually really that's one of those threads from this season that isn't really wrapped up. It's kind of like he's been detained. He is at a detention center, and we kind of don't really know what's going on with him by the end of this thing. But I did appreciate that everyone hates ICE's guts, and except for that one MAGA lady, and
fuck her.
So
to be honest,
fuck her.
Yeah, she sucks.
Fuck her. She sucks.
So there was a not to go off into EMS land too much, but at one of the hospitals I've spent the most of my time in the last 10 years, there was very recently an ICE presence there. You may have heard about this in the news. And this is absolutely something I've talked about. My partner is a lawyer, a First Amendment lawyer and a general human rights lawyer. When everything started going down, I kept asking her, like, is there anyone I can talk to about what I'm supposed to do on a call? Because a lot of times we're in a person's apartment or we're on the street or we're wherever, and the door is opened because other crews might be coming in. And I live my life in terror. Like, I mean this, and like, I don't know if I'll get in some kind of trouble for saying this, but I live in a sort of terror of thinking, what if I inadvertently ever let, an
ICE agent in?
ICE agent in because the door had to be open because fire was coming through, and like, we needed help with fire, not through any machination of like trying to allow that to happen, but like the door had to be open because other crews might need to come in, and it's like,
what are you opening into this person's life?
I lose sleep over this. I'll be honest. I lose actual sleep over this.
What a fucking terrible ingredient to add to, what is a deeply like a high skill, high risk job is like, okay, what if I also introduce this element into their lives inadvertently? I don't blame you at all. That's a really horrible thought.
This will, like the unwrapped, thread of what happened to Jesse. This will continue to be an unresolved thread, for me in my life that you can all now think about and lose sleep over. I'm just kidding. But,
and it's true. It's like it's terrible, and I think the show is. I wonder because the show will be back at the beginning season of next year,
it's coming back.
And I'm just like, okay, well, what horror is going to be introduced into kind of, because we had like, COVID response trauma left over in the first season, some other things. Now we've got patient assault and
mass casualty incidents, of course.
Mass casualty, and then of course this ICE thing, and I'm just like, boy, oh boy.
What will happen next? Technology failing. There's a little bit of AI in this one, although they didn't go as hard as I kind of thought.
I think that's a good segue to talk about one of the most central figures of the second season.
Yes, Baran. Oh my God.
Baran al-Hashimi, who is the replacement for Dr. Robbie while he is on his sabbatical, who immediately kind of introduces herself as like a hyper competent, very like even keel.
I'm also going to say hot. And I know,
God.
And I, as a woman, in medicine, I'm not trying to reduce her.
I know.
She is hyper competent. She's awesome. She likes AI, and that's gross. But like,
it's absurd.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's absurd.
It's really hard. Sometimes someone is so hot that it's hard.
You're not alone. Danielle. The number of fan cams I've seen of Baran al-Hashimi, it's in the hundreds at this point. So, but yes, she is hyper competent and kind of even keel. Yes, she wants everyone to use AI, which of course, Dr. Robbie, being the hot person he is, immediately introduces himself as someone who thinks that is stupid fucking bullshit.
Which he's right about.
Going to be a huge waste of time. Of course, all of that desire to have AI interwoven into charting specifically is undone by the fact that there is a cyber attack and all the systems are shut down. And so Santos...
And they have to write it on paper. Yeah.
One of the weird... I will say one of the actually very strange, although like, I bet it's realistic, but one of the very strange plot points of season 2 was the fact that like, Santos was doing charts for like fucking 6 hours in this season. It was like she didn't have a ton to do in this season. It was just kind of like, I guess not every person is going to have a ton to do every day. And boy, Santos was just like, I'm charting and I'm struggling to get a translator for someone. And that's what I did today.
I had 2 major issues with this season.
Yeah.
One is that they did her kind of dirty, and they did Dr. Mohan.
They did her a lot.
Filthy dirty. Santos, who I love her character. I really love her character. And I think she should go into pediatric ER because she's so good with kids. Like she has has moments.
Yeah.
Poor Samara. Mohan has nothing good happens to her. Shitty things happen to her, and then she gets blamed for all of them, and it sucks. Santos does not have a good day. She has a shitty day, but she has moments of shining. It's also one thing I did love is that she and Garcia are hooking up. That made me very happy because, of course, that made me happy. Now I want better for Santos. She wants more than whatever Garcia says, where it's like sex
Garcia,
and
it's
take out in bed.
It's and it's like that's all she wants.
No, she wants a little more. At least she seems like she wants a little more. Like she's kind of going like, I want to hang out. You know, she wants a relationship, I think. So I did like that they were hooking up. That was fun for me. And then I was like a little sad for her. But that's like, all right, normal drama. That wasn't like they did her dirty. What did they do to Mohan? Like I'm actually pissed. Like I'm actually annoyed. This is like my biggest sin for the show for the second season. And again, I can overlook and even embrace the corniness and some of the easy solutions and some of the really, okay, guys, I see what you did there, but okay.
Yep.
No. And they wrote her off the show too. Like
they wrote her off the show.
Not only is she having a shitty day, she has a panic attack that Robbie blames her for, which is insane and fucked up and terrible. And Robbie of last season yells at Langdon for being mean to someone. And now Robbie is like, oh, you have mommy issues? You're having a panic attack? It was
get your mommy issues out of my fucking ER. And it's like, whoa, brother.
And then they act like, oh, you can't even be an ER doctor. Go to geriatrics, which...
Right.
In real life, and I think maybe even on the show, but it's just the way they say it is so messed up. Like, she's an ER doctor. She's a 4th-year resident, which should be a 3-year program, but some places do 4 years. She'll be an ER doctor. There's no question. Yeah. Unless you actually did something illegal or completely fucked up, she's going to be an ER doctor. Does she go to a fellowship? Right, yeah.
She's completely equipped to be an ER doctor.
Completely.
Like, fully
She
equipped.
could be an attending in most ERs. And even if it's not a level 1 trauma center, which I think the Pitt is supposed to be like a level 1 trauma center. Okay, if she goes to the hospital down the street, she could be an attending in the ER. Like, no question, no problem.
Right.
She'd be fully done once she graduates. And like, okay, if she wants to do a geriatric ER fellowship, those do actually exist. There are fellowships for that. So that is a real thing. But just the way it's insinuated through the I think this is the weakest writing of the season. Just the way that it's insinuated that, like, you're not cut out for this. And it's like, she's a 4th-year resident and she's done amazing work. So shut up.
And I feel
she'll be in the ER.
And I feel like this was a moment where the show almost kind of made us want to not really think about the first season in a way that felt a little cheap.
She was so hyper-competent in the worst situation.
She was so hyper-competent. And it was also like, I took the time to have a dialogue with a sickle cell patient that was in the middle of a massively traumatic crisis. Yeah. And I took the time to do it. And because I took the time to do it, I saved her fucking life.
Absolutely.
Like, straight up. And so this idea that she can't be fast enough to be an ER doctor is kind of bullshit. And like, that was one of those things where I was kind of like, listen, I can imagine being in a job like that and being frustrated with her. Sure. But to boil it down to we're actually not cut out for this felt cheap to me.
So cheap. And it's more serving Robbie's character than hers. They just did her dirty. Yeah. It's like, this is a way of showing Robbie is so traumatized he's taking it out on other people. Right. And I think there was some slight insinuation, or maybe I was just reading too much into this, but like, she's not Langdon. And it's like season 1 Langdon is like the 4th-year resident baby. He's the golden boy.
He's in control.
He's the golden boy. He's perfect. He's a perfect boy. And it's like, of course, he has deep, horrible struggles himself. Yes. And she's just not him. So Robbie's going to take it out on her. Like, I feel like there was maybe some very, very subtle interplay there, but you didn't. Again, and if that's the direction you're going in as the writers, I understand. But like, don't just do her dirty like that. You could even have a line where she's like, you know what, I'm getting ready. I'm going to be an attending down the street, or maybe I will go to a geriatric ER fellowship. But don't insinuate she can't be in the ER. That just sucks, actually. Yeah. So
it was really, really frustrating to watch what they did to Dr. Mohan, which like Supriya Ganesh is like, she has been in these really tiny bit parts as an actor for a while, and this was like a really big part for her.
It's a meaty role.
And I really liked her in it. And I thought it was kind of like, listen, I think with their whole worldview as writers on this show makes a little bit of sense to say, hey, like, next time you see this ER, like, it doesn't really make sense that the same people would just be here.
Which is correct.
It's a teaching hospital.
Yeah.
It's, it's like, they're going to rotate in and out. They're going to go other places, whatever. But I do wish they had maybe given Dr. Mohan a bit of a different send-off of her coming to the conclusion that, she wants to go be an attending somewhere else instead of being berated to the point where it felt like, of course she's going to get written off the show because everyone's so fucking mean to her on this day. And it's like, that sucks, you know? Yeah. Not that every like storyline needs a pretty bow and not everyone has to be super likable all the time. Like, I get that. Right. I agree. Yeah. But I did think they did her dirty in a way that I think undermined some of the things that we already knew about her. Yeah.
We already know she's hyper competent, and there have been some medical professionals. Of course, I'm on medical Instagram all day, every day. Of course. Right? This is what I look at when I want to relax. Is people talking about whatever horrible thing. But people who like, especially some women of color, doctors of color, who have said like, I really saw myself in her, especially that she had that moment in the first season of hyper competence in the worst situation on earth, did amazing. She was like, let's go, I want to do another shift, and then immediately had like a crash, not immediately, but like and privately, and not in any unprofessional way. She privately had a bit of a adrenaline letdown in the bathroom privately, crying. Right. I've seen doctors who have said like, I really saw myself in her. I've had that experience. That has been me, where I thought I was great and fine, and then it's like, oh shit, I'm really not okay after a horrible day, and then being like, what the hell are you doing, show? Like, that kind of thing. Yeah. Which this is not insurmountable. Like, this happens. Right. So she was also kind of the person I associated with the most out of the entire first season. I was like, I can be a little slow sometimes in my own practice, but I always try my absolute hardest to make a connection with a patient, to create a rapport with a patient, to really, really, really make someone feel seen, even if it's the shittiest day of their life and I only see them for 20 minutes. I try my damnedest to really make that connection with people in the capacity I can, and never overstepping, just in the capacity that I can. Sometimes it means holding somebody's hand if they're sobbing, and sometimes it means just like, oh, you're wearing a Marvel t-shirt, tell me about your favorite Marvel movie, 11-year-old, whatever it is. So I really like identified with her in some ways, and then was just like, well, that sucks. That sucks, for this season a little bit. So it totally sucks. And like, we see her spend a good chunk of it essentially negotiating with a patient and with the hospital and with every single resource she can get ears and eyes on to essentially get a diabetic some help that he needs at an affordable rate so he can live and not go broke doing it. Yeah. And to see that storyline had a very tragic and sad kind of ending. Yeah. But also, for her just having this like day-long struggle and then to just be called out as someone who essentially cares too much. Yep. Kind of sucked. Like, it's bad. She had the worst day in a lot of ways, and I think like that was it was not fun to watch her struggle as a character. Which is not to say she didn't make a mistake with Ogilvy. No. She did. She should have checked. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's not to say, oh, she's a perfect princess who never does anything wrong by any means, but she's a good doctor and should not have been treated like that. I know these aren't real people. I know. We're criticizing the writing in any event. I know. That one. That sucks.
We talked about it briefly, but Dr. Langdon is back. Yes. This is his first day back from a leave of absence. He has gone to rehab. He has gotten clean. As far as we know, that's one of those things. It seemed legit, but it was always a question. Yep. And what I really liked about the way they handled Dr. Langdon is he came in a little bit gun shy, but also I think still like, I think a lot of people expected him to be very self-flagellating and passive. Yeah. And I liked that as the day wore on, he was like, I have to be myself still to be here. Yeah. And who I am is confident and extremely competent and sure of my own abilities in a way that says, hey, listen, I know that I fucked up, but I know that I could do this job, and I know that I'm here to do this job, and I'm going to be competent in it. But I think that because he wasn't this kind of shrinking Violet, some other characters had an issue with that. Santos had an issue with it. I think Robbie had an issue with it.
Yep.
And I appreciated that. So I didn't know how you felt about Langdon this season, but one of those characters that, like, I know a lot of people don't like him, but I'm like, man, I'm like, what a charming guy. Like, it's easy to like him in a lot of ways for me.
Also
so
stupidly
I'm rooting for him.
Stupidly hot.
God.
It's stupid. It's just stupid how hot it is. And they even do a storyline where there's some drunk college age person who's like, your doctor's hot, with her drunk friend or whatever. It's just kind of good. Yeah, I have really complicated feelings about Langdon because you know, I really love Santos, even though I think she has some real flaws. I love what a just kind of a badass she is. And again, I really see her in the pediatric ER. I really do. Yeah. Like, because she is kind of an asshole sometimes. She definitely is. Right. But with kids, she is the kindest, sweetest sweetheart. There's a boy who has a fireworks accident. She's like, okay, honey, this is what we're going to do. She's just so natural and good with the kids. She sings to Baby Jane Doe. Baby Jane Doe. Yeah. She sings to Baby Jane Doe. You know, she just has this moment. So I just love her. Yeah. And her beef with Langdon is the realest of all beefs. Like, it's a big beef. She catches him stealing medication. Stealing drugs. Patients. Like, that's huge. She has a reason to hate this man, and I'm there for it. I also think that Langdon is a phenomenal doctor, and he's usually, other than with Santos, he is really likable. He is he has such a relationship with Mel King too, who is just the world's greatest delight on earth. And it's like, they have this really gentle, kind, almost brother-sister kind of relationship. Yeah. Yes. I have both sides with Langdon where I'm like, I kind of love this guy. I also kind of hate this guy, but I kind of love this guy. And he seems to have genuinely done the work. And he even kind of says that at the very end. He's like, I'm doing the work, you know, and he calls Robbie out on being a tremendous asshole. And it's kind of a brave and good moment. Yeah. For me, it's a little bit like, you know, love the addict, hate the addiction. Definitely. Like, of just kind of like, definitely. Yeah. You know, I watch Langdon. I'm like, I don't want this guy to be addicted and fucked up and hated. Like, I don't want that, because I know that he gives a shit and he's good at what he does. Yeah. And addiction drove him to do something that is, pretty bad. Yeah. Like, pretty bad. I mean, in terms of the medical field, it's pretty bad. But I appreciated that he was let back in. I knew, you know, it's like, they had to lie about it. Because when he came back and all, I was like, somebody had to lie. They lied. You know, he didn't go to jail. Somebody lied. Yeah. Basically. And so Santos and Robbie are essentially kind of protecting a lie. I mean, and that's the thing that's also interesting about Santos, is that, like, she didn't have to do that. No, not at all. So there is part of her that I think understands fundamentally the mechanics of addiction and realizes that she can have this righteous anger. I think, like, you know, real, genuine righteous anger, but also kind of understand, like, I can't completely die on this hill because of this thing that we've got to protect. Of course, Baran al-Hashimi kind of picks up on what's going on at some point, and is kind of like, hey, as an outsider that's not close to this at all, Dr. Langdon probably shouldn't be working here. But, like, you know, there's this kind of other thing of like, well, you know, we've seen Dr. Langdon do amazing things, and maybe we give him another chance, and he does take that chance. One of those subtle things that we talked about earlier that's happening a little bit in the background is there are 2 moments in this season of the show where Dr. Langdon's back injury, for which he started taking the pain medication to begin with, it's still there. Seems to flare up. Yeah, it's still there. So, hey, maybe that's something we ought to look out for. And they tease it, not tease it, but they have that moment where he takes ibuprofen in the, you know, the staff room, and it's like, and Whitaker kind of walks in, and it's like, there's a. So again, it's one of those things. Is like, well, we're not done with this, are we? And it's how it is. Like,
people aren't just done with trauma. They aren't just done with addiction. Like it is an ongoing, constant struggle. So I appreciated that they didn't make that struggle so much the part of what Langton's dealing with. It's more of like, hey, I did get clean and I'm ready to come back, but like now I've got to deal with all these feelings. But now it's like, toward the end of the season, it's like, okay, yeah, he's still going to be dealing with this for a long time.
Yeah, maybe forever. Yeah,
maybe forever. But yes, I love his relationship with Dr. King.
So good.
Who, Dr. King has this autistic sister, and of course, quick aside, Mel King is also pretty autistic.
Definitely.
which is really great. And my favorite thing in the world is Dr. Langdon seems to just kind of like completely implicitly understand this, but won't ever call attention to it. But it's just like, okay, like you've taught me how you care for your sister.
Yep.
And I'm going to take care of you the same way. And 100%. It's a very, very, very sweet, endearing part of his personality. So
it's maybe his greatest feature.
It's awesome.
That and really of course the insane cervical whatever he did.
My God!
The neck,
like yes, very cool procedure. So Dr. King is back. Her sister actually shows up in the ER later in the season. Played by an actress with autism who does a wonderful job in that role. And I love, again, it's representation, folks.
Yes.
We have a competent psychiatrist bear in a wheelchair.
Yes, we do.
We have an autistic sister who wants to get some fucking dick in her life.
And
it's like, all right, like, yeah. And it's like, and of course, Dr. King is stressed out by this, but I think we, the audience, especially I think people who have dealt with disability or know people with disabilities are just kind of like, yeah, no, I get it. But like, Dr. King, you represent, I think, the vast majority of the audience who's maybe being introduced to the idea that disabled people might have desires in sex. And it's like, and I was kind of like, hell yeah, let's go.
Rock and roll. Absolutely.
That was great.
Yeah.
Those were good scenes.
I really loved that whole storyline so much. I know we're probably starting to wrap up soon, but I really, really loved that scene. I actually,
me too.
My partner has her brother is on the autism spectrum, and so she's dealt with a lot of this. She goes to some of those sort of like planning meetings for him and with various doctors of his and all kinds of stuff. And she does not watch the Pitt. She's a little squeamish, and also I think she's a little terrified to see some of what I might be exposed to sometimes.
Sure.
So she's scared of the Pitt a little. I don't mean to say like she's scared she can't handle it, but like I think it would be a little much.
It's a lot.
But I definitely showed her like some of the scenes with Mel King and her sister, and I was just like, look at this storyline that they're doing. Like, this is awesome. I feel like it was treated with both respect and it was fun. Like, it was kind of, it was treated with respect from like Mel King's point of view of like, she's kind of, in all respects, she's kind of the parent, right? And, although her sister does have, she doesn't have power of decision making over her sister. I'm forgetting the legal terms for this, excuse me. But like, her sister is a competent adult. So she, obviously gets treatment on her own and everything, but she helps out, but she sees herself as the parent. So of course she's going to be like, this Adam,
excuse me.
She just kind of has that very relatable, like,
right.
Who is this Adam? It's treated in a way where it's like, no, you don't have the right to say no about Adam. She wants to get some. She is very much allowed to get some. And you understand that Mel is like, just wants to make sure it's all above board. That Adam was not pressuring the sister, that, that things are actually, this is a very consensual relationship, and she likes Adam. She hangs out with Adam's parents and everything. And then it becomes that Mel, had her, who is this Adam? And then Mel had her own moment of like, well, now I'm left out because I'm not watching Elf for the however many time. Right? It's like, well, I usually go to the fireworks. And this resolves, honestly, in maybe the most beautiful and the most indulgent, for sure, scene of the entire show. But the end where she does over the credits, she does karaoke.
Very end with Santos. It's really good.
And Santos
singing
lets down her hair so that Mel can like headbang, not fully headbang, but like a little light, headbang, Mel King appropriate headbang
Right.
It's, oh my God. I know it's a little, not fan service exactly, but a little you know.
Yeah. But it was definitely like some levity after
trauma, and also some trauma.
A little bit, some trauma, it's like the whole thing kind of wraps up with Robbie kind of having this, fork in the road moment. Where he finally he wants to get on the road. He's basically told everyone goodbye in various ominous ways. He has essentially given Whitaker the keys to his apartment. He is essentially kind of broken up with his girlfriend in every way except explicitly. Just kind of like, if I talk to you, I'll talk to you. But listen, I'm on a fucking sabbatical. It's very like, I'm like, okay, Robbie.
Asshole. Honestly.
It's like, all right, dude. But there's Baby Jane Doe.
Baby Jane Doe.
Baby Jane Doe. There's a baby that's been brought to the hospital.
So well.
It's Chekhov's gun. I mean, it is. Baby Jane Doe is just there for most of the season in one of the rooms. The room, very specifically, where Robbie watched his mentor die, where he has a total breakdown in season 1. Baby Jane Doe in there in a little crib, and he goes in there and picks her up and just kind of quietly says, hey, it's going to be okay. And, comforts this baby girl. And he is obviously, holding himself in this moment of trying to tell himself, hey, this is going to be okay. There is some hope in this world for me. But I didn't necessarily go, well, I think he's fine. I go, I read that some people thought like, oh, he's going to adopt this baby to give himself some purpose. And it's like, I didn't get that at all. I just think he's looking at this as self-soothing.
Yeah.
And that was that's the way the show ends. And my monitor went dark and I thought I had lost you for a second, but it looks like we're good.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
And that's how it ends. And I don't know. What did you think about the way this wrapped up?
Yeah. I think there's like a chance he fosters that baby. I think there's a chance. And only because they kind of set it up earlier where Dana's running around being like, you want to do a foster situation? Right. There's like whatever term it was that nurses and doctors are looked favorably upon for, if not necessarily adoption, for like fostering for some time or whatever. There's a non-zero chance in my head, again, because this show is corny as fuck. That's that's the part of me where I'm like, I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't necessarily think that's definitely where they're going either. It's more kind of like, I wouldn't be shocked if they do that. I might be a little disappointed, but I wouldn't be entirely shocked.
I guess I wouldn't be shocked. I just felt like it was such a... We have to sometimes put ourselves in the position of looking at ourselves as a literal baby, as someone who came into this world without any sort of sin, and go, hey, this thing, I would want to nurture it if it was in front of me.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I should still have that instinct to nurture myself. And it is a reminder that we're all on even playing field in the ER, right? Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor or whatever. At kind of the big precipices of all of our lives, we are extremely similar,
very vulnerable,
very vulnerable,
in the extreme.
And I think that was just kind of, it was like it felt a little like an anticlimax. Although this show isn't something that I think needs that kind of like cliffhanger or anything like that. But it was one of those things where it's like, all right, well, okay. Robbie had to remind himself that he too was once a baby and deserves love and comfort, and and that's how this thing is going to end. And I thought it was nice, although it didn't exactly give me a ton of like immediate hope for him. I was just still kind of like, well, you're still going to have to be dealing with this shit. And I hope when the new season starts up, it is, very much a part of his life that he is now getting the help that he needs. But who knows?
I do too. And there were a few moments towards the end of the last episode that there's like a, oh God, oh God, oh God kind of moment when Baran starts driving home. There's a whole plot line about her seizures. So it's like,
well, and like, quickly we'll talk about that moment where Dr. Alashimi has this kind of like tense relationship with Robbie throughout the day. She does things differently, but is going to be taking over this role. Yep. Robbie is clearly very skeptical about kind of her own sensibilities, about what she's going to bring to this job. The AI stuff is just part of it, but there's other parts. But Alashimi at one point decides, hey, I trust this guy enough to tell him, hey, I had viral meningitis as a kid, and I've got these seizures, and it's a weird case, and I want you to know about it. And what he did was take that vulnerability and throw it in her fucking face.
Yep. That was awful.
It was terrible.
Awful. Like,
it was awful.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for Dr. Alashimi.
Yeah, especially because, like you said, I do feel like sort of towards the middle, they had come to some sort of mutual respect. And then this is just like, I don't know what I would do in her situation. Like, okay, something horrible happened and hey, but I'm still competent and it doesn't happen like this usually, but it did happen today. So what do I do? Like what her path is very unclear. Like obviously they can up the Keppra, they can up the whatever. I happen to know that one because my dad had a brain tumor and he takes Keppra for his seizures. So I'm just like, I know that one. I know Keppra, baby. Starting to learn a lot more medications. It's wild. It's crazy how much more I know about medications than I used to a year ago. But anyway.
It's crazy.
It's another one of those just awful moments. And I think some people were interpreting it as, oh, he doesn't feel he can leave the ER in these, unstable hands. So this is him being a papa bear and like a very, kind of like, oh, is that what you got out of that? Because I think that sucks. I think it's more Robbie sucks right now, even though he is a good doctor and he is a compassionate person and he does have such good to him. He's being a fucking asshole today. He's being a real piece of shit today. We care for him. We feel for him. He's traumatized, but he sucks right now. This is not a good thing to do. So I thought that was a very, very gray, kind of moment. And they were very clearly, to me, showing that, no, he sucks, actually, not her. Yeah. She's doing what she kind of can to disclose, but without disclosing, because, again, kind of like the situation with Langdon, like, do we want to involve the lawyers?
Right. Like, she goes, oh, there's safety in telling this guy what's going on. I have not created a sort of crisis that he has to deal with.
Exactly.
I'm coming to him on my own volition in a moment of trust, and it felt very much like, I know that isn't this, and it's like, it just has to do with like dumb fandom bullshit, but it's like, you almost kind of look at them as like kind of the beginning of a relationship, and not necessarily a romantic one, but like you see some through lines of that too, where if you're seeing someone for a few weeks or months or whatever, depending on how fast you move, for me, it's usually weeks, maybe days.
For sure.
You start to say, hey, I'm going to trust you with some information now. And it's maybe my first act of what seems like love to trust you with that information.
Definitely.
And you can have professional relationships that kind of go into that vein as well, I feel like.
Definitely.
And for her to have that moment of vulnerability and for it to be thrown back at her was like, it was brutal. It was really
and also to treat
upsetting.
That very much the same way he treated the Langdon situation.
Right.
Almost beat, not exactly beat for beat. He physically throws Langdon out, I think, in the first season, but close. But close. I'm going to tell everybody if you don't do what I say. Like,
he gives her a fucking ultimatum, which is like about as bad, and she drives away, super mad and
incredibly upset, and like I was terrified that the show was going to do me dirty and have her get into a car accident and be like, see, Robbie was right. She can't do anything. Like, one of those, that sucks. The show's better than that. I know it's corny, but it's better than that, It
is better than that.
But yes, thankfully. So I was a little worried.
I was too. Yeah. I was too. All right. Is there anything else from this season that stood out to you while we wrap up?
Let me get my notes here. I think you
took some amazing notes.
I write things out on paper now or my whiteboard because I'm like basically living as a pre-med student who also works full-time and have
Amazing.
a few part-time jobs. Yes, we did the choreography. We did Santos and Garcia. Yes. Oh my God. I just want to shout out Fiona Dorff. Holy shit. Amazing.
Amazing.
And she does such... Now, she probably only sees like 3 patients the entire day. And one of them is like a cute guy that, is hitting on her a little bit. One of them is an older man who she has to do something to his butt. There's a few things going on. But then she has the patient who is dying. Not young, but woman in her early 40s, like her age. I think she's supposed to be 43, who is dying. And it's the saddest fucking thing on earth. Like, she just has some good work to do. And I love her. And oh my God, she's amazing.
Right.
Yep. I think we hit everything here. Oh, I do love that there's a little tiny bit of NP and PA. Just mentions, just some shout outs. Donnie becomes an NP. That's an advanced practice practitioner who essentially is like on the same level as the residents. So you're able to give medications, you're able to give orders, but you still usually need an approving physician. So I did like that. That was pretty cool. Yeah, just wanted to shout that out. I really like Donnie.
That's a good shout.
Donnie didn't get enough to do this season, but he made it. He made it work where he was. I don't have that actor's name in front of me. Apologies, but I do love Donnie.
No.
And yeah, I mean, so I guess my closing thought, if I need to, is just sort of, watching the show and taking a lot of pre-med classes and being on an ambulance. Hit my 10th. Like I said, I hit my 10th year on the ambulance this month.
Amazing.
And watching this show it's both like so invigorating at times where I'm like, I love this shit. This is so exciting. This is so amazing. Oh my God. Getting really excited about the procedures and getting excited about the realism. They miss on occasion. I'm not going to lie. There are some misses here and there, but for the most part, it really does get the feel of a very busy, chaotic ER, like really well. And again, a lot of that's down to the choreography and the filmmaking itself. But also just so scared of the burnout and the crumbling American healthcare system that this show very much, it wears its politics and its heart on its sleeve. They happen to be very close to my politics and my heart. So of course I love this show. And that is definitely something I would say every time where it's like, I really love this show. I love the craft of it. I love what it's saying, even when it's corny. Yeah. But I know it's aimed towards me. So that's something to know, right?
I mean, it feels like it's aimed toward a lot of us. I mean, it's like, it does feel like it is an active conversation with the way that we're all kind of seeing the world around us crumble.
Yes.
And, I mean, they're like, it provides a little bit of hopefulness that I think there are still competent people out there that want to do good things.
Yeah.
And I think that's always going to exist. And I think the show is a decent reminder of that. And I also think it's a decent reminder to get out in your community and actually see those things in action. Because sometimes you need to see that, I think. And I think the only note that I had, I was looking at it while you were talking. Yeah. The only note I had, just really quick, we didn't really talk about Dr. Abbott at all.
Who, of course.
While
seems to be doing better.
While doing some self triage from being on SWAT team medical things, is basically confronted by Mohan about Orlando's debt, and while shirtless, dealing with his own medical trauma, goes, "Oh, I'll pay for it." Yeah, and I was like,
"What a fucking guy!"
It's like the hottest anyone has ever been in that moment. And it's just like, wow, okay. So that was the only thing I the
kindest man who's also kind of a badass, who's also a little bit of a smart ass.
A little bit of a smart ass.
I do love that he and the night shift have their little song that they do, their little call, their little because we're the night crawlers, whatever they call themselves.
Yeah, I think there's a decent chance we get night shift next time.
I think we do, because one of the night shift docs has been confirmed for the 3rd season. I love her too. I can't believe we didn't mention her. She's amazing. She's so good. Yeah. Oh
no, that's Aisha Harris. She plays Dr. Ellis.
Dr. Ellis.
She is a main cast member of season 3. So we do.
Nice. So she either changes for a shift or we get some night shift.
Or we're getting some night shift.
Cool,
which would be very, very cool. Well, Danielle, I'll see you this time next year.
Yeah, it sounds good. Just may Put it on the calendar, May 2027.
Just put it on the calendar. Yeah, let's do it. I'll do this as long as you'll do it. And
Me too.
As long as the show
oh my God.
is on.
I've been looking forward to this for weeks. Seriously.
It's so funny. It's like whenever this show ends and it's like, oh, their shift is over. My dumb ass is like, okay, all right, can't wait to see y'all tomorrow.
Completely.
I'm like,
Completely.
Hey, can y'all make another 15 episodes of this tomorrow?
Yeah,
can y'all do that?
It's so easy, right, guys?
Just so easy. Yeah, it's whatever. It's super easy. All right, Danielle, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Oh, it's a great call. Well, you can go to gamedeveloper.com for all kinds of boring business news and also very exciting things that are exciting.
Oh, listen.
Hey,
it's important stuff.
Exactly. We do what we can. You can also follow me on Blue Sky. What is my Blue Sky name? I should probably have that. Oh yeah, I'm just DanielleRI.BlueSky. So DanielleRI, .bluesky. Whatever. You just find me there. I'm there. I post a lot about school and about
Let's see
EMS.
how fast I can make that. There we go.
Yo!
Got it. There you go.
That was real time right there. That was
real time. Go follow Danielle over at Blue Sky. And folks, you can join the Hive by going to VGBees.com/join. If you like this is, by the way, this is going up on the main feed. We're not doing real bonuses anymore in the sense of we're not gonna gatekeep them. Had long conversation with a lot of our Hive members, and it's like their big thing was like, listen, we just support the Hive. We don't necessarily want these things to be gate kept. And you know what? I fucking love that energy.
It's beautiful.
So I agree. It's for everyone. So welcome to what would have been a totally gate kept podcast this time last year is now just kind of out in the wild. So if you like it and you want to support us and support more work like this, go to VGBees.com/join and join the Hive. Danielle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I always love podcasting with you. We're back in the saddle.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're back on the show.
We'll
have you back. You know what? We got to have you back before.
Yes, please.
A year from now.
I would love that.
We'll do something else.
Yeah, I can give you some really great content that I think a lot of people on the Beehive would like all the systems of the human body.
Yep.
By vibes. Like just by vibes.
Okay.
Like I'm going to do a ranking list,
That's good. A full ranking of the systems. I like it. It's a good idea. Listen, we're going to hold you to it.
I'll do it.
All right. All right. See you this time next year, Danielle. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Or before. Thanks for listening to the Pittcast Season 2. We'll be back on a regular episode of the show, of course, later this week. And don't forget to follow our socials for SGF coverage.
Oh, yeah.
Nikki and I will be there all week doing stuff in Los Angeles. So until next time, keep on buzzing, everyone. Bye.
Buzz, buzz.